Let's talk about mindful eating with Aliza. And I'm really excited to even learn what that is. I definitely do not know how to practice mindful eating. So I I just snack on crackers all day. So maybe she can teach me how to be better. Um, Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Nice, I'm great.
Awesome. I'm first of all, I'm so excited that I am talking to somebody who's having a book that is coming out, a children's book that's coming out. Yours is coming out January 3rd, which is very soon.
Very cute. And we have the same publisher.
I know. I saw we have the same publisher, Penguin Random House, which is awesome, and I love them and all the stuff that they support. So I'm really excited about that, and really thrilled to be talking to you about your children's book because I was looking at it and I was like, this is all about mindful eating, and I was like, I don't think actually I know much about mindful eating myself. So I'm excited to learn.
I think that that's one of the main reasons I did it because people are like, how do I help my kids? And I'm like, really starts from the parents as well. I'm like, if you don't know how to feed yourself properly, how do you expect to do it for your kids?
True. I mean, that's a great point. I also see the pictures behind you. I was looking through your Instagram and the pictures that you take of food. I know you're a photographer, but like they're so aesthetically pleasing to
That
me.
is another good one.
Oh, love.
They're
So
really
nice.
years ago, I started out working as a food stylist and I worked on Jamie Oliver's Food Revolution. So we worked with kids in schools. And when I stopped working for him, and I was like, how do I express my love of the farmers market and produce and all of those things? And I like started making these designs with like the 12 different avocados I would find at the market. And I was like, oh, I can use art as like a tool for teaching and learning
Yeah.
with in a non-aggressive way, opposed to being like, eat your vegetables. It's like, oh, look at how many different colors there are of oranges and different varietals. And like something I'm really excited to do when I go on my book tour is I guess I'm just gonna hop right into it.
Yes.
Have an apple um study that we're doing, and we're taking a bunch of different types of apples. There's actually 60,000 varieties of apples, which I think most people are like, oh, there's just a green and a red, and
Yeah.
that's it. But 60,000 different types, and they all have different textures and colors and shapes, and the skins are different, and some are better for baking and some are better for cooking. And I know that Fuji is like the main apple everyone's into, but we're gonna have a little worksheet for everyone to do to really like learn about these things, and it's very excited about it. There's just a lot we can learn from nature, and you don't need a nutrition label to eat things from the farmers market. It just like is what it is. So
Yeah.
um
I
that's
love that. I
like
also like the idea. I mean, I'm starting, I think it's been like a little bit over a week now with my youngest. I've just started feeding her food. And so to see just even like how much I've learned about food and about introducing different kinds of foods with kids from my first daughter to even my second daughter is like I feel like I've learned so much. I mean, I still have a lot to learn, but just like being aware and being so much more mindful of, of what I introduce her to, how I feed her, and what I'm giving to her, and just, that whole experience and this journey is so different the second time around for
it's
me.
different when
Um,
kids are alike, which is so interesting because you figure you have your first one and you're like, great, we've got this schedule down,
yeah,
what they're into eating. And the next one comes and you're like, you're a completely different human being.
yeah.
Why don't you like the same things? But let's work with it.
Yeah. I mean, I was thrilled today to discover that she loves avocado, which my older daughter does not like avocado at all. So, yeah, things are very different, but it's all great and it's exciting and new to be able to like explore different foods. But I mean, let's just go back to the beginning because I want to talk just about like your book, of course, but also just about mindful eating. What is mindful eating?
To me, mindful eating, I also do what people, I guess, call intuitive eating, but knowing what goes into your body. And when I really about myself, or I guess in a very LA way of doing things, when I talk to women and I say, you know that your skin regenerates every 30 days from what you put in your body. You truly are what you eat. So do you want your skin to look like goldfish crackers, or do you want to look like crudité? Whatever it is. They're like,
Yeah.
you have beautiful skin. I'm like, thank you. I eat really healthy and drink a lot of water.
Yeah.
So to be mindful eating. Also, I eat cookies. I'm a human being. Like, I love to bake and indulge, but like really being aware as to what you're putting in your body and see how you feel. And no one can be perfect all the time and eat a flawless diet. If you don't eat that cookie, that one, like, don't deprive yourself, but really be aware as to what you're putting in your body, because it determines a lot. And I was a swimmer growing up, and I had a lot of friends that ended up going to the Olympics. And when people would ask them about how they fuel themselves, they one of the coaches would always say, would you put regular gas in a Ferrari or in a Maserati? No, because you want optimum fuel for the best vehicle. And like, that's how we should treat our bodies. Like, you're trying to go fast, you're trying to just like be your best you. A lot of it comes down to what you're eating and what you're fueling yourself with. So to me, mindful eating is just being aware as to what you're putting in.
And why did you feel like it was important to teach that to children and have that kind of a conversation with children? Because I think it's like, I mean, since becoming a parent, I was always already aware of like how we talk about food. I think as, you know, women, and maybe men too, just like being aware of how people talk about their bodies, how people talk about eating, how people talk about, you know, eating certain kinds of food, calling something healthy versus just like good food or clean food or, you know, food that fuels your body and makes you feel good. There's so much I feel like that we've learned in the past, you know, however many years, just about how big of a role, I don't know if it's just like adulthood or how big of a role food plays in your skin, your gut health, your brain health, your, you know, your cognitive health, like all the different things that it affects. But why did you feel like it was so important to be able to put that into children's book format?
Kids, for one, are my favorite part, and they have the best books. Like, I learn more from reading my nephew children's books than anything else I'm reading. But when I guess I was like 24, and I got a job as an assistant working on Jamie Oliver's Food Revolution, and I would do all of the sourcing of all of the produce, and we would go to these schools in the inner cities and work with kids. And some of the kids who I was working with were 8 years old. They had type 2 diabetes, and I would cry at work. And I was like, this is such an insane reaction to have, because I grew up an athlete. I intuitively knew what I needed to do to feel good. And here I was working elbow to elbow with an 8-year-old type 2 diabetic because of her diet. And we made salads with these kids. And I just remember this girl looking at me being like, this is incredible. I've never had a salad before. And there's obviously like a lot of socioeconomic things involved, but I think awareness in the world is coming to a place where accessibility is growing in different communities, where people will be able to walk to their corner store and get fresh fruit and vegetables. But working with these kids and seeing the difference as to how they felt when they ate and how they were able to express it to me and tell me, oh, Aliza, this is so delicious. Like, this was so easy to make. And we were just making salads with them. And it was for the show, but it was also like, we were there to really have an impact on these children's lives. And like, the first season of it was in West Virginia, which has the most obese people per capita in the United States.
Oh, wow.
And they were able to change how the school food systems were working, and people were losing weight and they were feeling better. And by no way am I saying you need to be slim to feel good. It's just what you're putting in your body really has a lot to do with how you feel. And that's what's important. So working with these kids changed my life. I knew I would always go back to doing something with kids and eating. And it's a lot easier to make impact on a child than adult. Like grown-ups, you know, are stuck in their ways, and it takes a lot more to change habits of an adult. But if a kid is eating, really enjoying eating carrots, or loves to eat celery, or snap peas are really exciting, and you know, they have a fun little present inside of a sugar snap pea. Like they're the ones who I want to have an influence on so that they can take control of their futures and feel good. Everyone just wants to feel good and be happy and healthy. And like so much of that has to do with your diet.
Yeah. And I feel like the other interesting part of what you're talking about with mindful eating and teaching it to children is also the impact that we have as far as what we consume and the environment, right? Like that's also a big part that I think people are, you know, mindful of what they're teaching their children, and also like what we're buying for our children and for our families, and how we can be more mindful of those choices and how they play into how they affect the environment, right?
100%. And a lot of people are like, even myself, if I read a label on something and I don't know what that means, I'm like, I don't know if I should be eating that. But things that you buy at the farmer's market or pick off of a tree, they don't have labels on them. Like you're fully allowed to eat whatever that is because it's from the earth. Or people are like, I can't have an apple, it has too much sugar in it. I'm like, okay, but I'm telling you, like the soil health of that apple is probably great, and terroir, which has to do with like soil flavor, which is usually talked about in wine, is very important in all produce. So like soil health, I guess I go to a very like nerdy place with it, but the health of soil also contributes to the health of fruit and vegetables and the tastes and flavors. But I just hope people will, you know, shop the perimeters of markets to see things that have less ingredients in them. As like eating in California, people always are like, you don't have to do anything to your food here. And I'm like, I know. It's
You're like, that's why I live here.
that's why I live here. I'm also spoiled, like born and raised here. Like this is what I know.
Mm-hmm.
But we're very lucky to live in a place like even California provides, I think, like 70% of the produce for the entire country.
Right.
It's not just us that we're feeding, it's everyone. I don't even remember what you asked me at this point, but I just think in terms of what people are eating and fueling themselves with, the less ingredients, the better.
So how can we be more mindful with eating? I mean, I know your book is obviously teaching children how to do it, but I myself could probably be better with my mindfulness when I'm, you know, eating myself. And then obviously you want to be able to teach adults as well. I mean, children are so impressionable and they can, you know, change their views on certain things and be taught about certain things and what's good for you. And also, you know, what you eat affects how you feel and your skin and your brain, and being able to teach them that at a young age is such a huge gift. And their parents are, you know, the ones that are buying things to put in their home and taking them to certain places. So what can we do as adults, parents and not parents, that would be more mindful when it comes to eating?
Two things I love, I guess three. The first one would be taking the time to go to the farmer's market and shop, because not only is it better for you, but for your local economy.
Mm-hmm.
But I find even when I take my nephew to the farmer's market, his mom is like, he gets so bored. And I'm like, let's make a game out of this. How many colors can we find? There's a variety. We can get a whole rainbow of things and try them. Or I came over with a big box of like, when my favorite stone fruit farmer was in season, and we did a stone fruit tasting and we cut everything up. So for my second part of it, I guess it's my third, I love to make a snack board. American culture is so into snacking. I don't know, like Trader Joe's is a store full of snacks. It's incredible, but you go to Italy and like kids are not eating snacks they're always eating snacks here. I don't know, whatever, it's great. But to make a snack board and cut things up. So make it easy for you to do. I find that adults, kids, and everyone in between are more likely to eat an apple if you slice it than
Hmm.
if you're just going to eat a whole one.
Right.
So, and I know being a parent is really hard and it's very overwhelming, and you really want yourself and your kids to be healthy. And sometimes you're so worried about getting food in your kids' mouths that you just like have whatever. But if you prepare things that are ready for you and them and make a snack board with like some carrots, cut up apples, pretzels, whatever it is, just things that like those, what are those Baby Bell cheeses that everyone's very into
Yeah.
that we loved as kids, and put those like the thing on your nose after. But I loved that, to make it easy for yourself and them.
Yeah.
And then my like third thing is plant with your kids. Like if you have, even there's a page in the book about it, even you don't need a huge garden beds. Like I always take my avocado pits and I plant little avocado trees from the pit, and just like showing your kids how nature really works. Or even like planting basil. You can take basil that you just like bought at the market, and if you put it in a glass jar with water and put a plastic bag over it, and it creates its own greenhouse, and you're growing your own basil. And like my nephew Miles lives for pasta pesto. He I've never seen anyone eat so much pasta pesto in my entire life, but it comes from basil. Like just the more you know sometimes really helps. And I find that kids are so excited to eat things that they're a part of. So planting on their own is so cool. And even like I have a lettuce grow, and my friend kid only eats like tomatoes if they pick them. And I'm like, what a cool part to really understanding sort of like how this entire system works of eating and planting and growing than to do it yourself.
Yeah, I remember my my mom had like a similar idea to that when we were little, and we planted, my sister and I planted strawberries, and it was like it was so cool to be able to, you know, grow strawberries and also understand how all of that works. And I even see it now with my daughter Lila. She will, you know, love to go outside to the garden and like plant things, and also loves just the bugs part of it, just like thinks that it's super cool and fascinating. We're not great at keeping the plants necessarily alive, like they don't have a long lifespan. But I think that that's such a, you know, it's such a great part of being able to live in a state that, you know, where the weather is favorable to these kinds of things, because obviously if you're on the East Coast, it's a little bit colder to be able to do that. But I love all of these ideas. I think that they're really great, and to be able to, you know, take your kids to local farmers markets on well, whatever day you have. I think I know a lot of them are on Sundays, but to be able to do that. And then I love the idea of being able to do like a color thing, because I just know that whenever I take both of my girls, or you know, all three of our kids to the farmers market, it seems like you need to kind of rush and be in and out before someone has a full temper tantrum. But uh, the idea of being able to make it into like a cool activity is something that's very creative.
Yeah, and to just make it fun. I'm like, eating should, I know that, you know, you don't live to eat, but you eat to live, but make it fun. Like, there's just so many beautiful things out there and flavors. And I mean, just like as an adult to talk to the farmer and say, what is this best for? But kids, you like buy them a juice at the market, which I know juice is a little controversial now, but I'm a juice kid and I think it's great. It comes directly from the farmer. And let's go pick out like a red, orange, and green thing, and like let's do it. Even just like, you know, we're so lucky here that we can make guacamole most of the year. But
Yeah.
like that's, you know, a tomato, an avocado, a lime. Like there's so many cool things you can pick out and just very simply have an activity when you get home, and then everyone can take a nap or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But let's make things fun. Like it's really cool to have such great access to things, and all of these experts that literally planted these things from seed to give to you. It's really, I think it's so cool.
So do you have like a ton of avocado trees if you are planting
You know, I when I go out of town, they don't last, but my sister is a scientist. I come from a family of scientists, PhDs, and she would take all of the different avocados and they would replant them in their lab. And at her lab at UCLA, they had like all of these different avocado blossoms going.
Oh
I
my
have
God.
two really great ones happening right now, which I'm very proud of. So they should have fruit in, I don't like a decade from now, but I just think that the growing process to see that is
Mm,
incredible. Like if
yeah.
I grow one of JJ's lone daughter avocados on my own, like I would save millions of dollars, it feels like, because it's just, you know, it's very cool. So
Yeah. I love that. That's such a great thing to be able to also have like kids see it in all the different phases of its growth. So I love that that idea. What is when you kind of like think about going on a book tour or you know, launching your book, which is available for pre-order, and we'll make sure to put a link in the newsletter for it. What is you? Oh, it's so cute.
like look at this girl eating a watermelon on a banana. I'm like, that's me. They're
That's
so
so
cute.
cute.
So
What's like your big goal with your book and being able to obviously have interactions with kids that and do activities like, you know, your Apple activity or being able to talk about a subject like this? Like, what is your kind of your biggest goal with launching a book about this subject?
my goal is if I can just get one kid and hopefully hundreds of thousands of millions of kids to eat a little better. That's just my goal. I just know that you're happier when you're healthier, and I hope that this will inspire them to just try some new things. Like there's pages all about the different colors of things and the different sizes of different produce, and just to try something new and feel a little bit better from trying new things. Like it's from the earth. What a gift. Just for anyone, even the adults, I just want people to feel a little bit better. Not a big, just a little one, but I really,
That's so great.
if you're, when you're healthier, you feel better. So
I love that. That's awesome. That's and that's so exciting that it's coming out so soon and that you're going to be, you know, doing events and connecting with kids and with parents. And it's such an important subject and one that everybody has interest in because, you know, we all need to eat food and being able to talk to people about that and educate people about that and also talk about access to food is really important as well. So thank you so much for taking time to do this.
this was so much fun. I look forward to reading your book too. It's so
Oh,
cute.
thank you. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to reading your book and also being able to just do more activities with my girls that involve food and being mindful of food and just like learning about it because it's such a fun thing. And
It's so
they're,
much fun.
yeah, it's
What's
awesome.
better than just, I don't know, even like seeding a pomegranate is exciting. It's just, there's a lot going on. And I think kids genuinely do find it exciting.
Yeah,
So,
they do.
well, thank
Awesome.
you so much, Catherine. Hopefully,
Thank you.
farmers market soon.
Yeah, I know.
For
Exactly.
little one.
Thank, thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.